Good morning, and welcome to the Isn't It Time Facebook live show today. I am your host, Sally Thibault. Welcome. We are talking today how to overcome the biggest sabotage we actually place on ourselves, and that's sabotaging our bodies. I'm going to be doing quite a lot today, so notepad, pens, aside, let me know if you have any aha moments during today. As you pop on, say hi. Good morning, Belinda Lee. How are you? It's pouring rain where I am today. How lovely. Thank goodness. What's it like where you are today? Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods, and we will get straight into it. Good morning, Sonia. Is it raining in Brisbane this morning? I woke up this morning quite hot, and then bam, rain. So couldn't go for a walk up this morning. So I did a workout in the living room, which was kind of nice, dancing around to music in my earphones or my fun music. So feeling very inspired and energized this morning. I love that when you have really good music and we can just do a different kind of workout in the morning. Alrighty, so as you hop on, as I said, let me know what it's like in your area of the world at the moment, and we're going to get straight into this. I know I've got a few people who have let me know that they can't hop on this morning, but they're going to be listening to the replay. So if you are listening to the replay, hello. Good morning, Sandy. Oh, a few small showers, right? Yeah, it must be sort of centralized right over here at the Southport, I think. It stopped for the moment, but it was pretty heavy before. Nice to have it. Morning, Sandy. Morning, Sandy from Charleville. All righty, let's get into this morning. I was, we've been doing this kind of series of how to create a bigger dream for the past couple of weeks. And there has been a report released this week. The Queensland government is putting in a new initiative because currently about 60% of Australians are now overweight. That's 2 in 3 adults, 1 in 4 children. Good morning, Louise. And I'm not sure if you know my history, but I will share a little bit of that. So I was in the fitness industry for 16 years, back in the days of the leg warmers, tights, headbands, and we had puppy little sleeves on our leotards. Oh my God. But it was fun days. They were really fun days. When I first got involved in the fitness industry, I was really excited. It was a burgeoning industry. We're talking now in the 80s, right? 80s and 90s. Burgeoning industry, so much fun. It was based on some work by a guy called Kenneth Cooper, who wrote the original book Aerobics. And it was all about, cardiovascular health. At that stage, of course, there was lots of diets back and forth. I think in the 80s, what we were doing back then, we were coming out of Pritikin, which is the 1970s, which is very low fat, going into the Atkins diet. Let me know if you remember these diets. And that was very high fat, not unlike the keto protocol that I now talk about. And then we kind of went for, oh my gosh, we got too much fat. So then we went to low fat. Do you remember that? Everything was low fat. It was like skim milks. And then you had, low fat yogurts, low fat cheeses. Everything was low fat. And that was kind of in the middle of the last part of the 80s and 90s. And I know when I was teaching, we were very, very particular about what we ate. I remember rice cakes and cottage cheese. Gosh, I must have lived on that for days. And we would take the fat off everything. And then it got sugar. I thought, oh my gosh, because the low fat stuff tasted terrible, so they put more sugar in it. And then kind of sort of the last part of the 90s into 2000 was all about sugar. We're eating way too much sugar. Now it's going to keto and paleo and you know what? I've seen this all before. It's nothing's different. It's exactly the same. Every decade there's something new. So when I started looking at this, I wrote a program called The Art of Losing Weight Permanently back in, I can't remember what it was, 1996 maybe. And I actually wrote a book called The Intuitive Eating and sent it off. It was Simon & Schuster, I remember. And they came back to me and said, look, we really love the concept and we like the book, but we just don't think there's a market for it. And, of course, now everybody's talking about intuitive eating. But I understand now what they were talking about, because it didn't have underneath it a strategy that was really strong. So we can teach intuitive eating, but you need some strategies. So I'm going to talk about that today, and I'm going to share right at the very end of this program a new webinar I've got coming up, because we're not going to be able to cover a lot of this today. So on March the 12th, I think it is, I've got an hour-long webinar, free webinar coming up, and I'll share that with you at the end of this. But I want to talk about why we self-sabotage, because in the end, what we do to our bodies actually is sabotage, because right now there's more information than we've ever had before, ever. You can just click on weight loss or losing weight or how do I get fit and Google it, and a gazillion things will come up for you. And so it's not about information. You've got information at your fingertips. We all have. So we're missing the boat. I'm just going to see what Sandy said here. Wait, let me have a look, Sandy. What did you say? Why can't I see this morning? Not letting me get your. Oh, that's interesting. It's not letting me get your thing up. Anyway, I'm going to read it anyway. Saying I don't know why it's not happening this morning. What's going on? Wait a minute. Maybe I'll widen this a bit. Let's have a look. I can't find the link. Won't let me put it up. Okay. So Sandy, my gran who lived with us was big and pretty, yes, because I would have breakfast stewed apples and apricots and orange juice, ricotta cheese and toast. I still remember consider and the breakfast process. My parents did the Pritikin diet because my father has high cholesterol. This is back in the day when they thought high cholesterol was, about food. And I remember them, oh my gosh, it was hard. It was so hard, like that, to cut that off everything. We had dry salads, and it was terrible, and it made no difference, to quite honestly tell you the truth. But isn't it interesting how everything kind of moves now? You wouldn't think of not having fat in your diet, just wouldn't think of it. But I'm going to talk, we'll address that a little later on, but the reason we sabotage our bodies, and weight is the product of an emotion, not the cause of it. I'm going to say that again. Weight is the product of an emotion, not the cause of that. You're not unhappy if you're carrying weight. You're carrying weight because you're unhappy. Something is happening. There's a stress, there's an issue, there's a belief, there's something going on in your life that's causing you to, morning Donna, that's causing you to hold on to the weight. I want to make that myself very clear on that. It's causing you to hold on to the weight. Now, most people, when they're highly stressed, carry weight around the middle. And that's part of the hormone process, because when you are stressed, the body releases the hormone cortisol and adrenaline, remember, for you to do something. Flight, fight, or freeze. Run, kill the tiger or play dead. When you don't do that, when you're stressed and you don't actually physically do that, the body holds on to the energy. It holds on to the calories in your body, because that's what it's going to need. So it gathers usually around the belly area. Belly fat's often a lot to do with cortisol. And on the webinar, I'll explain a little bit more about, I can't go in that today because it's just a lot of physiology, but I'll share more of that on the webinar, which I'll share at the end. But I want to use the analogy of this. For many years, I've worked in the field of autism, and I still do some work in that area. And one of the things that people talk about with children living with autism is that they often lash out at their mothers. I've had many mothers who have come to me and said, I don't know what I'm doing. This child just lashes out at me. I seem to be the brunt of it. And what happens with children living with autism is that they will lash out at the person they most feel safe with. They will hold it together at school, and then they come home and they'll lash out at their mothers or lash out at their brothers and sisters because they know they're safe in that environment. How does that work for us? It's like we abuse our body. We put bad food into it. We don't move in it because that's what it's designed to do, because we know deep down our body's just going to keep working. It's just, if you stop and think about your heart continues to beat without you even thinking about it. The digestive system in our body takes the food and digests it, creating heat and calories in order for us to be able to adapt and to have energy and to keep the body functions moving. Our brain keeps functioning. We don't even have to think about our brains. It's something that we do. We don't even think about it. We don't think about how the organs in our body just continue to work whether or not you're focused on it. So when it comes to stress and we're overwhelmed, instead of lashing out at people, we will often sabotage the one thing we know will keep on supporting us. We'll reach for the extra glass of wine. We'll reach for the bar of chocolate, extra cup of coffee. We'll eat more bread. We'll, not eat what we know we should be eating, because we don't think for a moment that our body is going to let us down. And yet that's the biggest sabotage of all. I have currently a friend, an online friend. She's in the EFT community, who is actually dying of cancer. She was, in September last year, she was given 2 months to live. She has ovarian cancer. And lovely, surprisingly, amazingly, she's still going, and she's continuing to edit these videos and puts out videos and posts. And she's an amazing woman. Her body is breaking down. And it's interesting that she talks about now the only thing that's kind of allowing her to keep functioning is actually her mind, because her body, she's no longer able to get out any longer. She's wheelchair bound. Amazing woman. And there's a real analogy in there, a real lesson, a real story about caring for our bodies. It is just, do you know what? When I'm watching what Annabelle's posting all the time, I think how fortunate I am, still able to get up and move around. She's probably a bit younger than me, still wants to do so many things, but unable to. And it just shows to me the value of health. Health we take for granted. Do you know, more people focus on the quality of moisturizer they will put on their skin or the oil they'll put in their cars than the food that they'll put in their mouths. Even though there is more information than ever before about what's good and not good, people still continue to feed the body the food does not do it any good. And the issue isn't the food. I want you to be very cautious of this. The issue is not the food. The issue is why you eat the food that isn't good for you. That's the issue. And when I wrote The Art of Losing Weight Permanently and Intuitive Eating, it's by getting in touch with the messages our body sends us that we are able to move to this place of intuitive eating. But to do that, you have to learn to separate an emotional need from a physiological need. And that's the challenge. Most people will tell me when they want to focus on their weight loss, but I just feel like eating, blah, whatever it is. So is that an emotional choice or is it a physiological choice? Because a block of chocolate, as you know, is not good for you, because if your body's telling you to eat a block of chocolate, which is nothing more now these days than mostly sugar, the body isn't seeking the chocolate. Your emotions are seeking the feeling that comes from that quick fix when you eat the chocolate. I'm hoping I'm making myself clear. Let me know if I'm making myself clear on this. Yeah, let me just read some of this. I don't know why I can't get your comments up, guys. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to read Belinda's. Over the years, I've had my children go through mental health and autism. I'm learning that the mind is so powerful. I used to be such an emotional eater and never looked after myself. Yes, but now I'm putting self-care first. Absolutely, Belinda. Because in the end, it's when the body starts to break down, as it's happening with my good friend at the moment. You know, that's that big aha moment. You know, she's amazing, and her what she's going through, and her focus. You know, she's dying. She's dying. That's what interesting enough, we're all going to die, all of us. But you know, she's had this huge challenge come up for her life, and you know, keeping going. So you know, it just reminds me every day how fortunate I am to be fit and healthy, and why I continue to do what I do. She's just an extraordinary inspiration for me at the moment. Sandy, for me, I think it's a family connection. Bingo. Yes. I want to talk about that in a minute. Chocolate, Donna, very quick high and then drop to low, which even more emotionally stressful. Absolutely. Blood sugar goes up as you feel good for a minute, and then it crashes big time. That's why you go reaching for more, because you're looking for that, you know, fix again. Sandy, I want to get back to what you said, family connection. That's really important. A lot of this is to do with genetics, and I'm not talking about genetic body type. I come from a big family, an overweight family. So, you know, I've worked very hard for most of my life to find ways in order to enhance what I've got. I'm not, you know, I'm 5'1" and I don't have great legs, and, you know, like I make the best of what I've got. And that's what we all should be doing. But what's the family connection around food? Around food and around what you believe about yourself. That's the key. It's that, what is the family connection around that? I want to just jump in with another thing. I'm actually going to be talking about this on the webinar. And it's, who do you become if you were your absolute premium self? Like if you were absolutely the best shape and the best weight you've ever been, and I'm going to talk about why I don't focus on weight, but I'm going to use it for a moment for the analogy. What happens then? You know, I've worked with many people over the years who've said, you know, once they start to lose weight, people will say things, oh, you're losing weight. Oh, don't lose too much. You look quite tired. Or, oh, gee, you've lost a lot of weight. You've got to be careful you don't put that back on again. You know, like stuff like that, for goodness sake. And sometimes we surround ourselves with people who have same issues with us. And so if we want to step out and do something different, be something different, can be very difficult. It's like you're a bit ostracized from the tribe. Sandy, I want to get to what you just said, because Mum had to feed us a lot. I could eat 8 slices of toast and she'd say, haven't eaten anything. Interesting, Sandy. So there's some great issues. And of course, you know, we use tapping quite a lot now for getting over those things. You know, tapping's really good for getting underneath the core issues. Oh, when you look gaunt. Oh, yes, Donna. Isn't that interesting? You look so gaunt. Dear. You poor thing. We don't want to lose too much weight because you look older. You know, all that stuff. Anyway, yes, tapping's great for understanding emotion, but you've got to have a simple strategy in order to keep it going. As I mentioned before, when I wrote the book about intuitive eating, what I recognize now is that I didn't have the other side, which was the simple strategies, because unless the process that you use is simple, you are not going to stick with it. That's why things like, you know, hour-long exercises or a certain type of diet that removes you from everything else doesn't work in the long term. On the webinar, I'll explain a little bit more. As I said, we don't have time today, but why that process continues to make you fatter, and why when you eat a certain way and then you stop and you switch and you all that stuff, that the impact on physiologically on your body is detrimental. In other words, your metabolism drops. And so as we get older, we need to be focusing on increasing our metabolism through certain ways of eating and exercising. That's what we've got to focus on as over 40 and over 50 and over 60, is that we need to be building that metabolism all the time, because as we age, that dives. So it's really important that's the focus. And as we age, we need to focus on strong bones, good posture, great upper body strength, because we spend so much time hunched over. We've got to really focus on this top up part of our bodies as far as strength. Everything I do now is about strength in the upper body. But I want to just say a couple of things. There's 4 aspects I believe we need to focus on. 1, wellness, not weight. 2, energy, not image or size. 3, improvement instead of success. I'm going to explain this in a minute. And 4, joy instead of happiness. And the reason is this: when you focus on wellness, energy, improvement, and joy, you're living in the present moment. Where you get up every day and think, okay, what can I do to improve my health right now while I'm standing here in the kitchen? What's a better choice for me right now about improving my wellness? What's going to be better for my body? 2, focusing on energy rather than image or dress size. What can I do to give myself more energy today? What is it that I need to do that I can do? So whether that's ensuring you're eating enough protein, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's doing some strength work that'll boost your energy levels big time. Number 3, improvement instead of success. We get very focused on the end result. But it's the small daily improvements that make a difference. You guys shared that my challenge this year, my body challenge this year, was to be able to do a headstand, which I can now do without the wall. But now each day I'm focusing on how I can improve it. So I'm actually filming myself every day, and then I watch it, and I can see how, I can now get up without throwing myself up. I can now kind of move my legs into a sort of a split while I'm up. And each day I'm working on improving that particular exercise. And that's the key to it. It's like every day focus on how can I improve this? So you might, for instance, push-ups, one of my favorite exercises. It's not about how many you can do, but as you improve them. So you might only be able to do, say, a push-up against a wall at the moment. But then to challenge yourself, okay, so when can I do a push-up on my knees, a half push-up, and then move to a full push-up? So you're focusing on improvement. If you're focusing on, I want to be able to do 20 push-ups by whatever date, and there's not enough motivation in it. It's the present, in the present moment. And the last thing is joy instead of happiness. To experience joy, you can experience joy every day. Watch a sunset, watch a sunrise, listen to children laughing, read a funny story. Happiness to me is like, I'll be happy when. It's like it's conditional. So happiness has this, I'll be happy when. I'm really happy. Why? To me, it's far better to focus on joy. I've got to find joy today. How can I make somebody else's life joyful today? Small little things. So that's what I want to leave you this week with this week. Wellness, energy, improvement, and joy, rather than weight, image, success, and happiness, which are in the future. Focus on those 4 things. And you're looking at simple habits you can do every day. Do you don't need to be doing an hour of exercise a day. Yeah, just don't. Fitness professionals, I can tell you that, but it's the truth. You do not need to be doing an hour of exercise a day. You just don't. And for most of us, trying to find that hour is really difficult because, you want to do some meditation, or you want to do some tapping and journaling and get the food ready and kids off to school and spend time and go to work. Ugh. No, 20 minutes. That's all you need. Or half an hour. Stretch to half an hour if you want to add some 5 minutes of strength work. But you don't need that really long thing. And no diet. Don't just don't. Begin to listen to what your body really wants. Drink more water. Spend more time in the present moment. Be focused on understanding what your emotions are telling you. But if you keep going down this whole new diet, I can tell you, in a decade time, what they're focusing now on in so-called the brilliant way to eat will be obsolete. It just will be, because that's the pattern. It's what's happened since 1970. Donna, I'll read this out. Sorry, I can't post your comments today. I've been doing between 15 and 30 minutes of yoga since I went to the retreat last weekend. It's been really enhancing. Yeah, absolutely. And you see, that's the thing, Donna. It just doesn't take that long. For me, I find that if it's too long, I'm not going to do it. And I know, I'm working with women who are successful or building their businesses or creating new programs or whatever, and you don't have time. If the process is too long, you're just not going to do it. So I think it's on my notes. That's on my notes. Any questions? Have anybody got any questions about what's going? I think I stopped in the middle there. We'll do a quick. Oh, I know. I haven't posted the I haven't posted the webinar. Okay, so I've got a webinar coming up on the Tuesday. The 12th of March, I think. And look at this. I'm going to see if I can post it here. Here we go. I can post there. There's the link there. It's a free webinar. It's 10 o'clock Tuesday the 12th, but not this coming Tuesday, the Tuesday. I think that's the 12th. And I'm going to go into this further. As I said, I haven't had time on this Facebook Live to go into everything, but that's the bit.ly link. Hopefully in the comments here, it's popping up a bit better. But I think after I finish, I'll post it again here. But it's it's an hour-long webinar. I'm going to go through the hacks, okay, the time and energy hacks that you can do, the mind-body work that has to go together, the physiological reasons why we struggle with this, the emotional reasons, and why our brain works against us. So it's going to be a power-packed webinar, again, free. I just want to talk about it. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. I shared, for anybody that got an email from me last night, I'm really kind of passionate about this now because 60% of Australians overweight. Really? I just can't. What's going on? We're not addressing the right thing. And you know what? I wanted to leave you with one thing. I've come across people say, I'm not bad. I'm not carrying an extra 3 kilos or 4 kilos or 5 or 10 or whatever it is. And really that's okay. I can kind of live with that. I challenge you. If you don't think an extra 5 kilos on your body is impacting on your body, I challenge you to go and get a 5 kilo bag of potatoes from Woolworths or Coles or Aldi or wherever, pop it in a backpack and carry it around with you all day and don't take it off. And then I'm going to ask you, was that tiring? Because if you're carrying that extra 5 or just 10 kilos of weight, that is impacting on every organ, every bone, every muscle in your body. And I'm not talking being thin. It's not about that, It's not about that. It's about being the best weight for you based on your body shape and type. I wish I was 5'6", because it would be a whole lot better. Anyway, another story. But when you're carrying that weight on your body, that's tiring. It's tiring. And if you're carrying extra, that's why you're so tired. So, when you're strong, when you're fit, when you're healthy, you can do so much. You can truly dream that bigger dream. Belinda, I have been having lots of tummy issues, lots of all tests come back fine. They've put it down to IBS. But the information I get on diets is so overwhelming and confusing. Yes, Belinda. It's too confusing. And they keep changing their minds. But there's a way around this, and I'm going to share that on the webinar. So I'd love you to join in that webinar. I'll share with you what I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, and honestly, it's so simple, really. Sonia, I've recently lost 5 kilograms. I look and feel so much better. Yes. Well, and congratulations to you. But yes, don't you? Because it's just that weight. It's heavy. It's heavy. You have more energy when you're your absolute ideal weight. It's got to be an ideal weight. There's no perfect weight for anybody. It's your ideal weight. And then if you're carrying extra weight on your, especially around the abdomen, that's really hard on the lower back. Really hard on the lower back. So you want to be strong, fit, and healthy. Because you want to dream this bigger dream, right? And my friend Annabelle doesn't have that option anymore. And I'm sure she did all the right things. I'm not casting aspersions on anything she did, but there's a real aha when you find somebody that's dying, or come across someone that's dying. You realize how fragile life can be, and to take care of ourselves while we've got our health. So important. She's just a wonderful woman. It's incredible what she's doing. So the How to Transform Your Life and Your Body in Just Minutes a Day webinar is coming up on the 12th of March. The link is there, and I'll pop a link in later again. And we've run out of time. We can't do a tapping today, but I will on the webinar. So I'll show you a series of tapping that you can use on the webinar. We might continue this next week, but we have run out of time. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Wherever you are, we're hoping that it stays raining here just quietly, because we've had a very, very dry summer. So we're hoping we might, for our friends that aren't experiencing all that big rain that's coming from towns, but people in the middle, it'll spread out your way too. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I look forward to seeing you on next week's Isn't It Time Facebook Live show, and invite you to register for the webinar coming up on the 12th of March. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week on the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show. Bye for now.